Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps with Liz Cormell. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Been a while since I saw you at the Parameet.
Yes,
That was
goes so
fun,
quick,
wasn't it?
doesn't it?
I know, but it was fun, wasn't it?
Oh
And
yeah, definitely.
yeah, just the whole thing from arriving on the Friday, having a few drinks. Speakers, you were one of them. It was brilliant. Are you actually at the Parameet North?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
awesome. So yeah, and you're actually doing a tour as well, which is really exciting.
yes. I've got that
Uh,
between now and Parameet as well. Yes,
yeah, that's true. So
yeah,
we've got a
and
car watching.
off to the States as well.
Oh gosh, where are you going?
Michigan Paracon.
Oh gosh, that's the one I want to go to, and the Gettysburg. They're the
Yeah,
two what's on my list. Yeah, love to go there. I really would. Michael. All right, so you always start sort of asking where it all started for you. What was your first strange encounter?
yeah. So it was when I was about 6 or 7, I think, when I was staying at my grandparents' house, and I woke up in their spare room screaming because there was a man stood in the bay window.
Gosh.
Um, and my nan came rushing in and told her what was going on, and she said, "Oh, no, it's just the furniture, it's," and I was like, no. So yeah, I've always known that I can pick up stuff because it's come through my mom's line, my mom's side of the
Oh,
family.
okay.
So going around as you do with kids, parents take you to all these castles. We used to spend a lot of holidays in Snowdonia, and
Oh,
going into castles in Snowdonia, and always be a room that I wouldn't want to go in because it felt weird. Um, so yeah, it wasn't until much later I realised that it was actually because it was probably haunted. But as a
right.
kid, you don't think that. You just think, "Oh no, that's a scary room." So yeah, that's where it all kind of started. Um,
Yeah. Must be must be really weird. But you say it passed down your mum's line.
yes, yeah, my mom's mom, and all my mom's sisters, so all my great aunts,
Wow.
some of my mom's cousins, my niece is as well, so it's gone down through my sister.
Oh,
um
fantastic.
yeah, it was funny because we went to where was it, we went somewhere to look at the Christmas lights, and they do all these big houses out as Christmas. We were sat having a coffee, and we got talking about something supernatural or something spooky or whatever. And mom said to, it was me, my sister, mom, and Megan, my niece. And we ended up playing that game, where one of you draws like a head, and then you fold the paper over, and then the next person draws the
Oh yeah.
body, and then you fold it over again, and the next person draws the legs.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out as like a perfect bird.
Oh
And
my
Megan had said, "Oh, that's really weird. That's really weird." And we're like, no, not really, because we all
no,
knew what we
we
were
know.
thinking. So we played
Oh,
this game where it was like, okay, everybody think of a colour, and after three, say the colour out loud. And we all said, like, 1, 2, 3, and we all said purple. And then it was like, okay, think of an animal. 1, 2, 3, elephant.
oh my gosh.
All the way through, we were coming out with exactly the same thing. So we knew what we were all thinking. It was weird.
That's incredible. So, if you got a bus together or public transport, did you sort of have a conversation about things you saw then? Did you like see something lurking, or if you went in a castle?
When I was little, well, mum's very much, it doesn't exist. It's all in your mind, kind of thing.
Okay.
But now I do what I do, and I've been doing it for so long. It's mum's like, "Oh, it's your fault. You bring it out of me," and it's like, no, I inherited it from you. You can do it as much as I can. You've just chosen not to develop it.
Oh gosh.
So as a
Yeah.
kid, it was very much, oh no, it was just a weird room.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, well, what did you pick up? And I will say, well, I think there was a lady or a child or whatever, and Mum will go, very non-committal about it.
Bless you. Did you have get scared by it?
I used to, yeah,
Yeah.
before I developed, because it was, like I say, it was just a scary feeling.
Mm.
Whereas now they're people without bodies. They're just, it's a
Okay.
person. There's a little old lady or a little boy or a bloke stood in the corner. It doesn't scare me half as much because it's
Yeah.
not the
You
unknown now.
understand. Yeah, that's it. Wow. So how can you see them? In which way?
I see them in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
So the way I describe it is it's like I'm remembering it. So I'm describing a memory.
Right. Okay.
So I walk into somewhere and I can see the room laid out, where the doorways were and where somebody stood, and most of the time I can describe the person as well, but it's like I'm remembering them there. It's not like I'm not clairvoyant.
Right. Okay.
And then if somebody says, oh, what's their name, it'll pop into my head and I'll say
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I'm claircognizant is the way I describe myself.
Brilliant. The whole thing is fascinating, though. Once you
Yes.
sort of start picking up things, and can you ever hear things or?
I have done. And like in my house, I've heard my grandparents because all my grandparents have passed away,
Yeah.
and I've heard their voices in my house.
Wow.
Like proper DVP heard them.
Yeah.
And if I hear a voice, it's usually other people hear it as well. It's not like
Yeah.
psychically hear it. It's more describing things and like I say, like seeing a memory.
Yeah. That's fascinating. So, did that lead you to go out investigating, or when did you
Well, I
start?
forgot about it for years. I got more into, I suppose, the occult, so astral projection, reading tarot, going through the phase in like late teenage years where you kind of rebel, because I was brought up
Yeah.
quite a strict Catholic, so it was like looking at other stuff, other beings, and got into fairies and all that kind of stuff. And my boyfriend at the time, his mom was a Romany, so she taught me to read tarot using regular playing cards.
Wow.
So I've been reading tarot since I was 17, so like 30 years. But it wasn't till, I guess, 20 years ago, a friend of mine and I decided we were going on an investigation for a bit of a laugh. Well, a ghost hunt. We went out with Fright Nights to
Yeah.
Caldecott Castle, just as something a bit different, a bit
Yeah.
of a laugh. And that's what hooked me, because I was coming out with stuff, and the medium who was with our group was saying, "Are you a medium?" And I was like, "No, not as far as I know." He
Yeah.
was like, "I think you need to develop that, because I think you are."
Oh, yeah. Why would you? You just don't know, do you? You ask these questions, and for you, it's natural. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'd never come across anybody before, and like I say, my mom, I think it scares my mom, so she doesn't want to entertain it. She doesn't want to look into it. So
Yeah.
growing up, it was never something that was talked about. And it wasn't until, like I said, we did this, a friend of mine from work and I did this investigation, and it was like, wow, this is really cool. Coming from a forensic science background, it was like, I want to know more now. I want to know why. I want to know how. How did I know where the kitchen garden was in Caldecott Castle, having never been there before, never read anything? How did I walk through and smell herbs? That's the one thing I do get, is I do get smells,
Wow.
psychic smells. So like we were walking through the courtyard, and I was like, what? It smells like herbs, like sage. When you brush
Yeah.
past, I could smell thyme and sage. And we were looking around, and there wasn't anything. It was grass, and it's like, no, I can smell it. And the historian said, yeah, we're walking through what used to be the kitchen garden.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
it was like, well, how did I know that?
Yeah.
Scientifically, what makes it happen? I don't, and I still don't understand it, but I
No,
tend to accept it a little bit more.
that was it. With your background, you do want the science, don't you? Sort of
Yeah.
more than anything, and yeah, it's not doable, is it?
Well, I've kind of come to the conclusion that there's probably more to it than one explanation.
Right.
So I don't think, because a lot of people say, well, if you don't believe it's all infrasound, or it's all mass hysteria, or it's biological.
Mm.
And yes, probably some of it is, but I think some of it is explainable by quantum physics. So like time slips,
Yeah.
string theory, bleed throughs from different dimensions. Whereas other bits of it, yes, it is spirits of dead people. So it's, I don't think there is one answer to everything spirit related. Some of it is talking to spirits, and there's a load of other explanations from other things as well.
Yeah. There is, like, at first I just thought it was spirits, but then because I go to haunted antiques a lot, that's when I first heard of creatures, and then I experienced people witnessing them. Like one of the times I was there, a medium came in, didn't have a clue. All of a sudden, he's freaking out because the creatures were where his feet were. And he's like jumping up and down, going, "What's down there?" And like, I don't know. But to get that validation when I sort of can't see that myself, but I've heard them scratching, things like that, and you can hear them sometimes, but it's so intriguing.
And you get
And
things like elementals and
yeah, this is what I sort of wonder about these creatures, if they're sort of elementals more than anything. Andy, although I'm open to receive them, I often wonder where a message comes from and why. And
yeah.
Andy was watching one day, and he sort of got a name of Marilyn, which was my mum's name. And I don't know if it's the anniversary of a passing or a funeral, but yeah, which was a few weeks ago. And Andy's come through with a brilliant message, and it's spot on with what he came out with. So
Wow.
Carl went to an interesting location at the weekend. He went to Sherwood Forest, so he does pick things up. So he was in the forest and it's quiet, no noise, not a bird chirp or anything. And in a clearance, a figure walks past a tree and vanished. A few minutes later, he felt what only can be described as someone pushing him down on his shoulders. And at the same time, his wife heard a footstep behind her and a whistle in her ear. That's
Yeah.
cool. But I need to go up to Sherwood Forest again. It's
Yeah.
about an hour from me, even though it's Nottinghamshire. It's up the top of Nottinghamshire, isn't it?
It's a big
South,
county, yes.
well, yeah, South Yorkshire's actually nearer. Like, it's probably easier for me to get to Sheffield at the weekend than it is up to there. Uh-oh. Excuse the background. We're on about birds and things. Who's joined in? But yeah. So we've got Nicola as well. Welcome. Nicola Smith. Welcome. Noreen. So if you've got any questions to ask Liz, go ahead. When we started, we were talking about your recent trip around Scotland.
Yes.
Absolutely
Yeah, that was
awesome.
really cool. Yeah.
So
Well, I'm interested in the archaeology anyway. I've always been interested, like from university, doing an archaeology degree, looking at defensive structures. So going to see some of the tower houses and castles in Scotland and the Crannogs, and just amazing place. And some of the atmospheric places in Scotland are just stunning. We were talking about Loch Ness and the energy that Loch Ness gives off.
yeah, you did a fascinating experiment there. Do you want to mention it?
Yes, I met up with Stevie and Dave from Resident Ghost Investigations, and because they were up there on holiday and said, "Oh, do you want to meet up?" And I was like, yeah. So we went to Boleskine House, which was Alistair Crowley and Jimmy Page's house. And obviously we couldn't get into doing investigation. So what we did was we went on the road at the bottom of the hill that Boleskine House is on top of, outside the Boleskine Cemetery. We were getting spooked and freaked out. We were pulled off the road in a little lay-by, and we came up with this experiment to see whether it was just us because we knew where we were, or whether the area did have a feeling. So the first night I was driving, and we drove away from Boleskine House, and blindfolded Dave and said to Dave, "When you think we're close, say stop." So anybody who knows the roads up there, they're all twisty, turny, bumpy up and down. I was speeding up and slowing down because of the road conditions. And he said, "Stop." And we pulled up right outside the cemetery, which is just the other side of the road to Boleskine. And we're like, well, okay, that's fantastic. That's amazing. Let's see if we can do it from the other way. So drove away in the opposite direction, blindfolded Dave, drove back, and he said stop, and I pulled over into the nearest gateway. He took his blindfold off, and I said, "Oh, really sorry, but I think you're miles away." And he's like, "Oh, well, that's a shame. At least it worked once." Pulled away, and there were the gates of Boleskine. So we were like the next gateway down. Anyway, the following night we went back, and from about 8 miles away, Dave was driving and I was blindfolded from 8 miles away from Boleskine. And I ended up saying stop about 200 yards away from the gateway to Boleskine. So there's definitely something there. There's definitely a feel to the place, certainly after dark. And we were seeing shadows walking in the verge ways. We were seeing flashy lights. Something it felt like something leant on the back of the car. Stevie and Dave, who were on the driver's side, Stevie was in the back, Dave was driving, felt the car go down and like somebody push on the car. I didn't hear it, but as they reacted, I saw something walk past the driver's side of the car. So yeah, we freaked and drove away.
Yeah, it is quite a creepy road anyway.
Yeah.
When I go camping, I'm just 2 miles from there. So there's a lane just before it on my left. And you just go down there and that's where I camp. And when I realised I was so close to the house and you could actually see the trees around it from where I was. Yeah. It's just so fascinating. And
we found it very interesting is that people camp in the laybys alongside.
Yeah.
But for a mile or so either side, there was nobody in the laybys.
I've never seen anyone there.
There was loads like further away, like all the camper vans with the things up, but just in that one stretch, I mean, there was plenty of parking spaces, but the 2 nights we were there, all the other laybys were full, but there was nobody at all in the laybys by Boleskine House.
I haven't seen anyone either. So I've been a couple of years, and yeah, just a fascinating place. When I drove there, it was after the campsite, and I didn't realise where Boleskine House was either. So you just headed along the road, and I missed a turn off, and then went by the cemetery, and it's like, oh wow, I just felt so much in that cemetery, even though I didn't realise what it was.
Yeah.
It's only afterwards when I went to see Steve Feltham at Loch Ness that I actually realised that that's where the house was.
Yeah,
it could have been anywhere, and it turned out it was camping right near it. So it's just fascinating. Got a question from Andy. So, when you're walking around in an area you've never been before, do you think you've been there before or seen the area before?
I've had that a couple of times. again, going back to when I was growing up, I was about 7 or 8, I think it was, and we went to Gloucester Docks, and they've got a really interesting packaging museum in one of the old warehouses there. And Mom and Dad were trying to find the packaging museum, couldn't. And I said, "Oh, I know where it is. It was in the old Bird's Custard Factory
Wow.
warehouse." So I took them down these little windy gullyways all around the back way and found it. And they were like, "Well, how do you know where it is?" I was like, I don't know, but I know where the Bird's Custard factory warehouse was. So I must have had a past life or something, because I as soon as they said it's the Bird's Custard warehouse, I knew exactly where it was, and I took them straight there.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, there's been a few places where it's like, I know where I am. Round Glastonbury, I definitely know where I am round there. Went camping with a group of friends a few years back, and we got completely lost. And I said, "Oh, follow me. I'll take us back." The only fly in the ointment was the road that I tried to take us down was no longer a road, so we had to turn around and go back onto what is now the main road. But I
Right.
took us straight back to the campsite, just following.
Brilliant.
I call it psychic navigation.
It's handy, isn't it? I used to
Yeah,
have a habit, if we ever went for a walk, I'd know where the car was. Like, say,
yeah,
"Where's the car?" And I don't know, I just knew what direction it was. Random.
yeah.
And
I
yeah,
can't do
you
it in
know,
cities so much. Cities kind of send my. I get very confused in cities, and a lot of schools and hospital buildings that are all,
yeah,
you get turned around. But stick
but
me in the middle of nowhere, I'll get you back to wherever.
awesome. It's brilliant. It's it's kind of reverse version of déjà vu. It's brilliant though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic to sort of have that where, yeah, you just get sorted wherever you are. So you mentioned your past lives. Have you had any regressions done?
I've had one, but I do them myself. So
Yeah.
the one I had done for me, um, it wasn't anything that I remembered, but I've had, growing up over the last 40 odd years, I've probably had 3 or 4 recurring dreams that
Wow.
I think are past life connections. So,
Interesting. So, what have you got one of those you can mention?
um, well, Second World War, I think I had 2 lives in the Second World War.
Wow.
The first life, I was a pilot, and I didn't last very long. I obviously wasn't a very good pilot because I got shot down and killed quite early on. And then my next dream in the Second World War is as a child, like quite a young, like toddler,
Wow.
playing on bombed out houses. And the house, I remember very clearly from this dream that I've had several times, going out of the front of a row of cottages, looking out over water, and I don't know whether it's sea or a lake,
Yeah.
and down the other side through a hedgeway there is a town that's being bombed.
Wow.
um, so I know I will recognise that place. If I ever drive down that lane, I'm going to screech to a halt and go, "Oh
My
my
God.
god!" Because I'm fully expecting to find it at some point, and just recognise the
I bet
cottages.
you will. You'll be drawn to it, surely.
Yeah,
Eh, you can't keep being shown it and not go there.
yeah. Well, I like I say, I'm fully expecting, and I will just slam the brakes on and go, "Oh my god!"
Wow. Found it.
Yeah,
That's so incredible. To have a dream and remember it, but then for it to happen a few times, it's yeah, same sort of
I
thing.
have quite a few recurring dreams that are messages, which is why I'm convinced these recurring dreams are past lives.
Yeah.
Um, but I've learned to do lucid dreaming, so I kind of not control the dream, but kind of feel where it's going to go. Like I went through a phase of having really bad nightmares,
Okay.
and a friend of mine said, try learning lucid dreaming because you know you're in control then. So I did, and I have very exciting dreams, but I don't have nightmares, because
Alright.
within the dream I know I'm dreaming, and if I don't want something to happen, then it doesn't happen.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
That's amazing, yeah.
I touch wood, I haven't
I
had a
didn't even
nightmare
know that
since.
was possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Incredible.
you can teach yourself how to lose. Some people can do it naturally.
Yeah.
The first stage is, when you get woken up and you're like, oh, I was in the middle of a really good dream,
Yeah.
and you can't get back into it. If you try and get back to sleep, you can't get
Yeah.
back into the dream. That's the first step. As soon as you can get back into a dream that you've been having, then that's you. If you can do that, you can do lucid dreaming.
Wow. I have done that before. I find that when I used to set my alarm for a morning, I'd wake up and then I'd fall asleep, and it was that time when I'd start on a dream. And
Yes.
and if you've got the alarm set at a weekend and it happens, and then you which often make the mistake, I won't learn, and then I have sort of managed to get back into it because you sort of
Yeah.
want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Not for a while though, so I don't know if your state of mind, if you're feeling down, if that can stop getting certain dreams through, or I don't know.
I think it's a case of I know that people who interpret dreams say set an alarm, and then as soon as your alarm goes off, pick up a notebook or a dictaphone and tell because you do dream in the latter part of the night. So
Yeah,
just before you wake, that's when you get a lot of your REM sleep.
yeah,
So if you wanted to have a dream interpreted, you set an alarm, and then as soon as you wake up, you write it or you talk it into a dictaphone, because give it 30 seconds or feeding the cats or whatever. By the time you've done that, you've forgotten half of it.
it's gone. Yeah, that's it.
So I think it's just practice, and it's like the psychic ability. If you try too hard, it doesn't happen.
Mm,
You have to let it happen.
yeah, and then sort of life circumstances can change things as well, can't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
really. Andy, I'd love to re-enter some dreams. You get most of the way towards the finale and wake, then it's all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's a really good skill to learn.
yeah, it is, isn't it? I went to Bestwood Lodge, which is sort of creepy hotel in a dodgy area of Nottingham. It's got a country park round it. So that night I sort of got this priest really close to me. Um and I sort of came home and stuff. And then in the middle of the night I sort of had this dream, and I actually had to I was given a symbol. So basically, it was like a cow's head, and it had horns, and it went here, and it gave me 3 as well, like there, there, and there, and it was so like graphic. I actually had to look into what it was. So I was obviously shown it for a reason, and
Mm,
that was to do with witchcraft. And you do try and find things on the internet, and you can't find things like that on the internet, not easily, because it's a
no.
bit different, isn't it? It's not love and light, but yeah. But but dreams can. Have you had any messages through your dreams?
Yes. I've recently started having a few premonition dreams.
Oh wow.
Um, I don't know if anybody remembers the passenger jet that came down in Japan, I think it was.
The missing one.
And no, the one that he as he was landing, he clipped one of the runway vehicles and burst into flames. So
Okay.
came into land in flames.
Right.
That clip of the CCTV that they showed on the news was what I saw in my dream. I didn't realize it had clipped the vehicle. I just saw this jet coming into land in Japan in flames, and then they showed this clip of CCTV from the airport cameras, and it was just like, that's what I saw in my dream.
Oh my god. When did you see that?
I think it was about a week before it happened.
Oh my gosh.
I know there was a series of 3 dreams, and they all 3 of them came true, and that was the first one. Second one was something to do with one of the oil tankers when there was starting to be the trouble with the pirates boarding ships in by Libya. It was before that, and I'd said something about a cargo ship being attacked with missiles.
My gosh.
And then the other one was an explosion in a big city. And I know all 3 within 2 weeks of me having the dreams, all 3 of them had happened.
Wow.
I don't know why I saw them. I don't know whether that was kind of going, okay, here's the big one, and I missed the big one.
Oh,
So I don't know, but yeah, I've had a few weird dreams where they've either been short-term premonitions or long-term premonitions, like Iceland erupting. I had dreams of Iceland erupting when I was a kid.
You are so fascinated by Iceland, though, aren't you?
Oh yeah. I've definitely had a life there.
It's when you showed all the photos. Oh my God. It's just stunning when you were there. And
yeah. Well, I'm doing a tour there next year, which is, that's part of the reason I keep going back. It's a good excuse to go back because I'm recceing for the tour, so it's like it's work.
I like that excuse. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's why I set the company up. It's like it's work.
So, are there sort of, how does it work with spirits in the cold then?
I don't think they feel the cold. And to be honest, it's not really much colder than it is here. Like I was there last Christmas, and it was actually colder here than it was in Iceland.
Wow.
But the wind is colder because they get the wind straight off the North Pole. So it feels colder, but it isn't actually like the actual temperature isn't cold. It's I think you were like -7 and it was like -3 in Iceland.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Because I know I've been to Sweden. It's -20 or plus, and Prague and stuff. But depends on the time of year as well, doesn't it?
Finland was cold when I went a couple of years ago to see the aurora. Went right up into the Arctic Circle. That was cold. The one day it was like -35. That was cold.
Yeah, then it's not good, is it? Yeah, when we're going into Gothenburg, his watch did to like -20, and it sort of went off that scale. And all the sea was frozen.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that was impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was an iceberg or something. Yay. So Andy years ago had a dream shown to me by past brother. He showed me the exact ward and bed where we played age 6 to 7 before he passed. Then an operating theatre and doctors and nurses. About 30 when I had the dream, but we both knew who we were. Oh, bless you.
Oh, bless. That's because you don't see the physical person, you see the soul. I think you see the spirit. I believe it's like when we've all heard about when people are passing away, their loved ones come and collect them.
I witnessed that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've witnessed it when my nan passed away. My granddad came to get her, but they don't see them as we see them, as ill old people or sick people, or they see them as they are spiritually. We have a spirit personality, which is why I think spirits can present themselves at any age. It's whatever age they feel most themselves, and what clothes they want to wear. It's not like, oh, well, that person was buried in the blue suit, so that's what they're going to wear for eternity. It doesn't work like that.
Do we? Always people buried in the wedding clothes or something.
Yeah, Yes.
Do me.
Everybody in,
Mouse.
everybody in spirit looks like they're going to a wedding.
Yeah, all the men in the suits and things. Oh God. Oh dear. That's got me going. But yeah, it's like my dad sort of just a week before he passed really. I didn't know, but my sister had been to the hospital earlier and he was looking straight behind her. And then when I visited, he's looking straight behind me. So me being me, I says, oh, mum's come, Dad. But he had Alzheimer's and dementia. And then he just started freaking out and he like rolled to the other side so he wasn't facing. So it was really
I,
but
I was I was there when my nan passed, and my mum and I were there at her bedside when she passed away. And my granddad, who passed away probably 10 years before, was at the end of the bed.
oh bless.
So mum and I were sat up by her head by the that side of the bed, and
Oh,
my
bless
granddad was
Lord.
stood at the end of the bed.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, he came to get her right at the end.
Yeah. It is incredible and it's a nice thought as well, isn't it? It really is.
It was so peaceful, and I was so honoured to be there. It sounds really
Yeah,
weird. It's like I watched my nan die, but it was a really nice experience. It was just
yeah.
really peaceful and happy in a way.
That's right, because it's a release from the situation they're in, isn't it? Like my mum had sepsis, she's went in Friday, Monday she passed. Me and my sister were with her, and Dad, he'd got Alzheimer's dementia right to the end. So we were
Mm.
there as well. And I think I know it's weird, but all my family members kind of waited for me to turn up before they passed.
Yes, I've heard that a lot. That
Really?
they wait. Yeah, and if they don't want to worry people, they will pass before you get there. So there's two types of people. There's people who will wait for you to get there
They do.
and then pass, or if they don't want you to worry or they don't think you'll deal with being there very well, they pass before you get there. So there's
Yeah.
two lots of stories I've heard of people who've said like, yeah, I was driving home and unfortunately they passed before I could get there. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, there's a reason for that. And
yeah.
then there's other people like yourself saying, yeah, they waited till I got there and then they passed away.
But
Yeah,
it was me. It wasn't my sister, it wasn't my mum and dad. It was me they
yeah.
waited for. And my mum always knew as well. You'd
Mm.
get the phone call, "Oh, you got to come quick." You know, she kind of knew, and I didn't make one. Sort of got regrets because my granddad, I took him out in a car for a drive. I just passed my test, and he sort of passed away. Um, when I got him back to his house, I was with him. And then sort of when my gran passed, I didn't make it. It was a bit maybe I should have
Yeah.
done. But it's just a bit weird how it. Oh, okay. Noreen's the same as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, and like my sister, like she says, like if I ever turn up, you know, it's just and now I'm obviously on this route. You kind of sort of understand it more, but then I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because I went to see my gran, and she was in a care home at the time, and we got the call, so I went. But when she was there and she was breathing loudly, I was looking at the ceiling, talking to the ceiling. And then we just left and then got a phone call when we got home. They went in straight after me and she weren't there. She'd passed and like
Mm.
it I knew she weren't there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
that's
like
even before I did the paranormal thing.
when my uncle passed away recently, it was he wasn't there for quite a long time before he passed away, because he had MS and he'd got dementia that had been brought on by MS. So when he actually physically passed, I didn't mourn because I'd already mourned him,
Yeah.
because he wasn't there. He hadn't been there for years. So
it's nasty. Yeah.
yeah.
So Noreen was paranoid, but felt honoured, and that's it, isn't it? And yeah, and I think maybe I was there to tell the other family members because
Yes.
I can deal with it. Because I had to, because with my granddad, there weren't any phones, so I had to run down the street trying to find a phone. Got the ambulance out, then I had to drive to my mum and dad's house. Well, where I lived, wait for my mum to come home from the market. So no phones or anything. So I had to break, and oh gosh, it's just how things have changed now, isn't it?
Yeah, but like you say, I think it's a case of you're going to be the one who's going to deal with it best. So you're the one who's going to get the message first.
Yeah. So it's unusual, and it's kind of the end really, because everyone's gone now nearly. So it's quite
But they
sad.
haven't gone; they're still there.
Well, yeah, I know they are, because last week I've got some Andy Guy's kit. I spoke to him, and I think my dad was having a field day behind me. And that's the problem when I get my dad loves well, he used to love cat balls, and now he's gone on to these temperature things what Andy Guy does. It's like you want to invest, and it's like beeping, and you have to turn it off. You have to tell him to step back.
Yeah.
It's just mad, isn't it? But yeah, he loves he does love it. I'm always honest about what's happening with the kit,
Yeah.
It's not natural to go to a rarely investigated place, or probably never even, turn up at these, like, woolen mills, and all of a sudden, you've got this thing beeping straight away. It doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm sure my dad would.
Sorry, it's my dad.
I did it at Derby Jail as well. Yeah. It's my dad. Is it you, Dad? I know. Like last week, it was quite funny. But yeah, I think he's around again 'cause I'm laughing. It gets me laughing. When my aunt was doing the Battle of Children, sat for days. Oh, bless you. Yeah.
It's giving them permission to pass. I think it's giving them permission to let go.
Yeah. Yeah, because by then, with Dad and Mum, I did sort of know of something else. So I sort of said, "Oh yeah, you've got your mum here," and my dad had Mum, his my mum waiting for him. So yeah, it is incredible. But you wish they were here, but we do have the sort of knowledge that they are around us, and that is something special, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a comfort. It doesn't make death so final. It's kind of a next step on the journey. It's in the next part of the journey, and I think I feel very honoured to be able to have a glimpse of that, even though I don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
I know there's something next. It's not like that's it after this. There's something else. So it makes death less scary, I guess.
Yeah. But your former job then?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it. Did you get any psychic experiences or what?
No, I mean, I was a CSI, crime scene investigator,
Wow.
and forensic archaeologist. And to be honest, I have never been to a murder scene and experienced the spirit of the murder victim. I think it takes a while for the soul to adjust to being in a different reality.
Yeah.
So when I was there, it had pretty much invariably not long happened. So the actual crossing, the death, hadn't happened long before I got there. So I think it was too soon. I mean, I've been in mortuaries by myself and never picked anything up.
Yeah.
The spookiest place I ever went to was Coventry Cathedral, and a guy set light to himself, unfortunately. And the atmosphere was weird. It wasn't because of what I was going there to investigate. it was because it was a weird place.
Yeah.
Coventry Cathedral after hours, they pipe in monastic chanting.
Wow.
But I presume it's to stop the drunks and the druggies hanging around. But it was, I know it was myself and a fire investigator who were there, just the two of us, and we couldn't get out there quick enough because it was really freaky. And it wasn't to do with the gentleman who'd taken his own life, unfortunately. It was because of just where we were. It just felt we felt like we were being watched the whole time.
Yeah.
But that's the only time I've been to a crime scene and felt anything. And it wasn't to do with the actual scene itself. It was just a weird place.
It's certainly got a lot of history anyway, hasn't it? Because it was
Yeah,
war, and you just
yeah.
you've got the new bit, and you've got the original.
Well, we were right in the middle of the original, so.
Oh yeah, I need to go back. Yeah, I haven't been since college, I don't think. So Louisa wants to know about witchcraft, in particular Norse witchcraft.
Yes, it is me that's the Norse witch. Yes, I am a Norse witch, and yeah, I've done my DNA, so it's in my DNA. I'm Viking on both sides of the family, so both my mom's ancestors and my dad's ancestors are Viking. Mom's ancestors settled in Flamborough, so they're Norwegian. My dad's ancestors are Norman, so they are Danish Vikings. So yeah, that's why I've been. I mean, when I studied archaeology, I was a Saxon archaeologist, so the Dark Ages, so Saxon Viking. So I've always been drawn to that. And then when I got into the witchcraft path, as everybody does, you experiment. I use like, oh, what's this, and am I this, and what do I believe in? And it was the Norse. It was always the Norse stuff that resonated. Every time I did something or I did a ritual that felt right, because nobody's ever taught me. I'm self-taught for both psychic and witchcraft.
That's brilliant.
And it's always been the Norse side that kind of feels right. Because I'm a great believer in instinct and using your own instinct to find what works for you. There isn't a right or a wrong way of doing things. It's what feels right for you. So whether the books say you do something on a full moon, if that doesn't feel right for you, then do it when it feels right for you. Bugger everybody else.
That's right. Who makes the rules? It's man, isn't it? So
yeah,
just go where you're drawn.
There are no rules in terms of religion or faith. It's not. I would say I have faith, not religion.
Yeah.
I call myself a Norse witch for ease of explanation, but I'm quite an eclectic witch, so I bring in stuff from Celtic side. I can do Volva magic. I can do Sadir. Volva is a seer. Volva is a seer. So that's trance witchcraft, a lot of shamanic stuff. And specifically the Norse women's magic was Sadir, and a lot of that was around being a seer, prophecy. So yes, I can do that, but that's not exclusively what I do, because I do bring in some of the Celtic side, which is why my tattoos, on my left hand side I have Celtic stuff, and on the right hand side I have Norse.
Brilliant. And I've seen some of your tattoos.
I think most people have. I'm not shy about showing my tattoos. Just to clarify, my right side, when I say my right side, I say from my waist down to my ankle. So if somebody asks me about my tattoo, I'm not shy about dropping my trousers.
But oh dear. But do you find it drives your life? Drives how you live life in some way? Influences it?
It must do. Otherwise, why would I bother doing it?
That's true.
It's like the whole live like a Christian thing. It's the way I treat other people. I treat people as if their souls are eternal, which they are, because that's what I believe. And
Yeah.
you never know what I believe in reincarnation, which maybe the Norse didn't so much, but I believe in reincarnation, hence the past life stuff.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're going to be in the next life. So why would you risk it?
Interesting concept. Yeah.
Even putting it as bluntly as that, it's like, well, why should I do something good when nothing's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen to me. I don't believe in God. If I'm a agnostic or I'm a non-believer, why should I live a certain way? Why should I treat people kindly? Because it's the right thing to do. Well, who says it's the right thing to do? But if you cut to the chase and say, well, if you're reincarnated, you don't know where you're going to end up. So you want to earn that. People call it soul contract. Other people call it karma. Karma can be good or bad. And I believe you learn lessons through each life, which is why you're put in that life.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a certain amount of free will, but there is a certain number of life lessons that you have to learn to progress to the next. It's like playing these video games. You work your way up through the levels, and you have a free choice of which way you go, but you have to find the top of the level, or collect so many things, or get so many coins and eggs, or whatever. I see life as like a series of spiders' webs. You've got to get to the center of each spider's web, but you can go there however you want to.
Yeah.
So you can go round and round and round and round and round and round and round, round ever decreasing circles. That's the long way.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go straight to the middle. And then when you get straight to the middle, you're on to the next one. Or you go round and round and round and round and round and take decades and decades and decades about it. And then it's like, well, you never actually reach the center. So the next life, you've learnt from that going round and round in circles. So you take a more direct route next time. So karma isn't. People ask me if I'm a white witch. I don't see things as black and white. They just are, which is a very Norse thing. There wasn't good and evil. There was good and not so good, or advantageous and not so advantageous is probably the best way of looking at it. Yeah. It's not black and white. If you look at the Norse gods, they were the worst ones for shagging their sisters and killing each other and getting angry and having slanging matches and tricking people into killing people they didn't like so that they didn't have to do the killing. So
yeah,
if you look at just the way the Norse gods lived, it's like, well, okay, everybody makes mistakes, but you have to learn from those mistakes to get better, to get to the next level. And it's not black and white. It's not good and evil. It's not white witch and dark witch. It's everything. There has to be night for there to be day. There has to be black for there to be white.
Yeah.
So it's not a simple case of good and bad or good and evil. It just is.
Yeah, it's like every day, isn't it? Yeah, good bits, bad bits, and then in between, whatever. And
half the time, the good bit is good because that's the way you approach it. So if you approach the bad thing in a different way, does it become a good thing? Some people, like when I do tarot readings, people say, well, what if you see something really bad? And it's like, well, it's all about interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah.
What could be bad for somebody if you put a different spin on it? It's like the glass half empty. If you empty a glass, you can put more in it. You can fill it back up again. Or, I don't know, death. Death doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. It could be the start of something new. Yeah. It's all about perception, all about flipping something on its head so that somebody will look at something and go, oh, well, you're going to lose your house. Everybody would go, oh, my God, that's really bad. Okay, well, you're going to lose your house, but actually you're going to find an even better one that you're going to be even happier in. It's that perception flip, I think.
It's like if you go for a job and you don't get that, something better can come up. Anything, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So Louise is at Bishton Hall, Battle of Miss. I wondered why you were going there. If you could make it over, it'd be great to chat and share mead.
I'd love to, but I'm at Chillingham this weekend.
Oh, beautiful. So you're going up
Yes.
north again then? You
Yes.
just got back from Scotland, so you're going back. What are you like?
Oh, I do a fair few miles, yes.
Definitely. I know you followed storms.
Yes, I
Yeah,
do storm
do a
chasing,
bit
yes.
of mileage there. So Anthony Peake written a book called Cheating the Ferryman. And he puts the idea that Liz has just been talking about in an easy to understand way. Oh, interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
I have to check that out. We did get something from Andy. So can you understand someone saying, ask her about the Easter bonnet?
No, don't know that one. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We made Easter bonnets, but it's not.
Yeah, we did, but I don't recommend.
Yeah,
I don't recall anything specific about an Easter bonnet. Sorry.
yeah. Maybe something will come through in a bit. So you've started something new. You started doing
Yes,
tours.
yes, I
So
have.
tell us about it. Go on.
Phantasm Tours. Basically, it's an excuse for me making a living doing what I like doing anyway.
Good.
So, taking people around to places with interesting stories, interesting histories. So, the first tour I'm going to be doing is with Patti Negri in September. And the theme is witches. It's called the Tour of the Weird and Worms, going with the Norse Saxon feel. So weird being witchcraft, and worms being dragons and beasties like that. So everywhere we're going has some connection or to a legend about a witch or a dragon. So
Cool.
yeah, so Phantasm Tours. I've done tours before for other people. I've been tour director for other companies.
Yeah.
And I enjoy sharing my stories with people. I enjoy showing people the different type of history. So there's all this the usual stuff. Everybody goes to Stonehenge. Everybody goes to Warwick Castle. I want to show people what else is out there.
Yeah.
So all these little known legends like Bella in the Witch Elm,
Yes.
places like that have really interesting stories that not everybody knows about. But because I do what I do and I enjoy going thousands of miles to explore things in the back of beyond, I want to share that knowledge with people and to do something about witchcraft with Patti Negri. So myself and Patti, it's going to be amazing. So we're doing 2 investigations, one on Friday the 13th, which will be at the Old Hall in Bakewell. And the other one we're doing is Craggy Noss, which was built, the current incarnation of Craggy Noss Castle was built by Adelina Patti. And it was like, well, okay, I've got to take Patti Negri there because same name. And we're then going to do a ritual inside a stone circle.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, all the hotels, this is my sales pitch, all the hotels we're staying in are haunted, and I've checked them out myself. Bed and breakfast included, entrance and tours of all the places we're going to. So we're going to Sinai House, Castle Cock, Caerphilly, Lancaster Castle, Pendle Hill. Sorry?
Sinai House.
Sinai, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Been there a couple of times. Went there with Derek Cora. Yeah.
So we're going starting in Birmingham, working our way up to Pendle Hill and Lancaster Castle. Then we're going back down through the Midlands, across to Wales, and then back all the way down to Boscastle Museum of Witchcraft.
Wow.
And then back up via Glastonbury and Wookey Hole, back to the Midlands.
Fantastic. So how many days?
It is 7 days and 6 nights. It is if you use the code LIZ24, you get £800, £700 off. No, hang on, £600 off. I'm trying to give it
I said 24.
Yes.
£600 off. All right.
So that takes it from no, it's more than that. It's £700. So it takes it down from 2,500 down to 1,800.
That'd be brilliant.
And it's the 11th to the 18th of 11th to the 18th of September. So yeah, but I'm also selling different components of that trip. So if you're not available because it's outside the school holidays, people working and that kind of thing, I'm also doing like Friday night to Sunday evening. So if you want to join us for that section of the tour, that's £480. So that takes in one of the investigations and the ritual at the Stone Circle, and the hotels overnight for Friday night and Saturday night as well.
That's it, because just the hotel itself, going to the Parameet.
Yeah.
The hotel, costs a bit.
Well, it's bed and breakfast. In fact, the one on the Saturday is dinner, bed and breakfast. Craggy Noss is dinner, bread and breakfast as well. So if people want to come on, I don't know, do a day with us and meet us somewhere, if you're local to Boscastle and Bodmin, for instance, drop me a message and we can sort out you joining the tour for that day, and I can work out a price. There won't be any more than 15 of us on the tour, so you'll get time to work with Patty and myself one-on-one as well. So it's not like this huge group of people that you're never going to speak to Patty or anything like that. It's going to be really intimate and close. So
so if you want to sort of book on it, how do you get the tickets?
If you go to phantasmtours.com, and you go to the store there, it's the Tour of the Weird and Worms. It's the only tour I've got going for this year.
I won't write that down. I might spell it wrong. Just look at that. Yeah. Didn't even try and pronounce it.
Weird and Worms.
Yeah, okay. Take your word for it.
But like I say, I'm planning three tours next year. One of those is to Iceland. They're all week trips. Flights aren't included, but it will be all full transport, full accommodation, and all entrance to all of the places. So yeah, I'm looking at maybe doing Ireland, Iceland, and a Viking tour next year.
Beautiful.
Next year, I'm also doing weekend retreats. So February, April, and June for the summer solstice. I'm doing witchy weekends, I've called them. So it's like a weekend, Friday night to Sunday, just after lunch, doing meditation, elemental stuff, learning to do spells and all that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's fascinating, it really is. Yeah.
And Yule this year, 21st of December. Yeah, it does. Yeah. 21st of December this year, my special Christmas, pagan Christmas, Yule, I'm doing a Viking Jolblot. So it will be held in a reconstructed Viking long hall, mead, beer, Viking feast, Viking reenactors, and me doing my full Volva, Severe, pagan stuff. So that's in the planning stage at the moment. So hopefully that will be on the website. So keep an eye on the website and on my socials, because there's all sorts of things. I keep getting ideas and like, oh my God, I've got to do this.
That's wonderful. And it's going to be so unusual as well. It's not a standard trip, is it? And yeah, you're going to learn things out of it. I think you probably make lifelong friends as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, Patty said most of the people on the tour, because it's the first one, she hasn't done a tour over in the UK before. So it's her first big trip over to the UK, and it's my first tour. So the first people on the first tour are going to be friends forever.
Yeah.
because it's something special. So because that's why I want to keep it so small. You will become friends. Anybody who come on a tour will be friends for life, and hopefully people will keep coming back and doing more with me.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the history and the archaeology side; it's all the myths and the legends and the paranormal stuff as well.
Yeah. There you go. Got a volunteer.
I will get in touch. Hopefully, the place I'm hiring has reenactors. But I've the Yule thing. I'm encouraging fancy dress, although it's not compulsory. So yeah, if you want to dress up as a Viking and have a Viking feast, yeah, I brew mead as well, Louisa.
Trying, Louisa. Oh, it just sounds
Sorry.
fascinating. The Christmas one does, Oh, they all do, to be fair. Yeah. See, you could go on holiday. You could spend a week on a beach. What do you remember about it? Not a lot. You do a week
Yeah.
there, and it's just a lifelong experience, isn't it?
Well, I've packed it in, and like I say, it's not the usual places. So I'm hoping even people from the UK will go, I didn't know this was here.
Mm-hmm.
All the myths and legends and the different stories and the well, like I say, all the hotels are haunted for a start off. So
Yeah. It's a nice house. It's fascinating. No one
yeah,
knows about it.
yeah,
And if it's got links with Knights Templar or
yeah,
but
yeah,
I've seen they have changed it because they had a beautiful tree there, but it's not there anymore, which is a shame. And it had a green pool, but I think they've changed that as well.
yeah.
It's a fascinating place and it's got a lot of atmosphere. Really
Oh
has.
yeah. Everywhere we're going has got atmosphere in abundance.
Yeah, but it's a nice special, and you can't usually go there. There's only sort of one person who you can sort of book with to go there,
Yep.
really. So yeah, and
Yeah.
you, brilliant.
Yeah. There's a few places that I've got us into that you don't kind of get into very often.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping to make it I'm hoping, like I say, I'm pretty sure it will be a special tour, like for more than one reason.
yeah. So
And
everyone's
for
gonna be
1,800
knackered when
quid.
they get back, aren't they?
Oh yeah, you'll need a holiday when you're finished, but
Yeah. It sounds like a nice little holiday though. Yeah.
for 1,800 quid with the entrance for everything and all the hotels, they're all really, really nice hotels. And you get to investigate with Patty and myself and do
Yes.
a ritual in a stone circle. So yeah, but
Uh,
if you can't make this one, keep an eye on the website because there's the witchy weekends, there's tours coming up next year. I'm doing all sorts of different things and my brain just goes, oh, that's a really cool idea. I need to do that.
It does sound incredible. Yeah. I'm
Cool.
stuck this year, but I don't know about another year. Yay. Keep an eye out. But yeah, if I could and circumstances were different, I'd love it. But when I've got a hound, it's a bit different, isn't it? So
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
I've had to cancel an event today in York because I can't get anyone to look after him.
Oh.
I was just hoping there's a cancellation at the kennels, and there hasn't been, so I had to call it really. But hey ho, I go on holiday to Scotland instead. Start that one earlier. But yeah.
Yeah.
So any other plans? Any paranormal investigations planned? If you've had
Oh,
time.
I've got loads because basically Saturdays for the rest of the year are pretty much booked up.
Wow.
Um, so I'm either doing an investigation or I'm teaching because I teach for University Magicus, which
Oh
is
yeah.
Patty's spiritual university. So all things spiritual, magical. So once a month I teach, and then usually 3 Saturdays and some Fridays I investigate. So I'm all over the place. I couldn't tell you what's next. No, Chillingham's next weekend. Weekend after, goodness knows. Then I'm in the States for Michigan,
Oh
Paracon.
yeah. That is awesome. I do
Yes.
want to sort well, is it happening next year? There's been some talk
Well,
about it, hasn't there?
Brad Brad Blair, who organises it, is stepping down.
Mm,
So whether somebody steps up to take it over, um, it hasn't been made public yet. So there may be one, there may not be. So,
yeah,
but yeah, if you can get to, if there is another one, it is the one because everybody who's
definitely.
anybody is there.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it.
all the American TV stars are there. That's where I met
Mm,
Patty.
right.
In fact, I met
Oh,
her at the Festival of the Unexplained in the March, and then I saw her again in Michigan in the August.
yeah.
Um, so
It's
yeah,
certainly
the
an
Rafe
incredible one to go
Chasers,
to.
Jason Hawes, Steve and Dave, Tango, the Ghost Hunters guys, Project Fear, Andrea Perrin, Ghost Brothers, yeah, everybody who's
Okay,
anybody.
that's brilliant. Yeah, you've got so much on. How do you manage? When do you rest?
I don't. When I'm not doing paranormal, I run the cat rescue.
Of course you do, yeah. How many have you got at the moment?
Two fosters and five of my own.
Right.
So, but I'm chair of the branch. So yeah, I run that for the local RSPCA branch. So
Yeah. You
that
sort of
takes
hold
up.
raffles and do a lot of fundraising, don't you, for them? And
Yeah,
yeah, it's great that you do that. It's, it's horrible how people treat animals, isn't it? And
yeah. Well,
oh
they don't
god,
have a voice, so we have to be their voice. So
yeah, that's right. I totally get you. Yeah, you
yeah,
know, I've got a rescue dog, and if he fell into the wrong hands, oh poor thing. You know, he's a
mm,
bit scared of quite a lot, and you sort of don't know how he sort of got there. Really, what caused that?
yeah. Well,
You know,
all
it's
five of mine are
tricky.
rescues. Four of them were rescued from kittens, two of which I caught myself.
Wow.
But one of them, she was one when I got her. Goodness knows what she's been through because she flinches. She doesn't like being stroked.
Oh,
She's got a kink in her tail. I think she was beaten, and her tail was slammed in a door because it's broken on the very end. So yeah, it's just I'm kind of doing what I can to help.
yeah, okay.
Um, and I've got a big enough house so that what used to be my office is now my foster room. So I've lost my office.
Brilliant.
It's
No,
now my
it's
foster
nice.
room.
It really is. Yeah, because you know they need all the help you can give them, really.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's just horrible. Like you just see the news day after day, don't you? And
Yeah,
I think in some ways we know about the human things, but like when it's a cat or a dog, it's like, oh god, it can really, or even like you know, some I run a group. I'm an admin on a group called Much Love Staffies. Been on it a while, and I had a staffy, and I got to know a lot of people. And my dog died at 9. But a
mm,
lot of the dogs I knew when he was around, they're getting like 13, 14, and it's like, "Oh, no." And it's
yeah,
hard just to see it, and it's like,
yeah,
"Hiya." But, yeah, sort of no sort of animals, yeah. They just have
yeah.
so much to offer, don't they? They can teach us lessons. They really
Yes,
can.
the no. Look, I love the fact that there's no agenda. There's no game playing. They are as they are. They're just
Yeah,
they like
totally
you or they
open.
don't.
Yeah. You sort of you know, you look at him, he starts wagging his tail and like, "What more do you need?" You know,
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, I'm happy to see you." Like, "Oh, that's sweet," you know, and
yeah,
he like
definitely.
he brings his toy and it's not all about throwing it as quick as you can. Sometimes want you to hold it, you know, just to sort of for you to pay them attention. He hates my
Yeah,
phone, hates my laptop.
yeah. The cats
And
are
then
like that. They're like, get the laptop out and they sat on it, so I can't do. I've got to pay them attention then.
yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's incredible what you do for sort of rescue.
Thank you. Well,
So
it's
yeah, it's brilliant, and it is a hard world in rescue as well. You
oh
know, I've known people in dog rescue, and The culture
Yeah.
behind some of it's a bit grim, but
It's
yeah,
blood, sweat, and tears, definitely. But
yeah,
it's worthwhile because you do it for the animals. You don't do it for yourself, and
yeah.
you do get put through the ringer. Like
Oh,
you hear about ones that you can't help, and you beat yourself up over it. But you've just got to remember the ones that you can help. You
yeah,
change their life. You can't beat yourself up for something that you can't do. I mean, we've been full for months, so there's
it's
so many emails and things that we get. People
yeah,
saying, "Please help," and it's like we can't. We just physically
yeah,
can't. We've got nowhere to put them. We don't have an animal centre. All of our rescues are fostered in homes. So once they're full, they're full. Um,
yeah.
and
That's it.
I've had it where I've had kittens in my spare room before, but it wears you out. I can't
Yeah,
physically.
yeah,
I
definitely. You can't
I had
keep.
8 kittens.
I had two kittens swinging off curtains over open windows on the first floor. It's like, oh God, no.
At one point, I had 11 cats in the house, and 8 of those were kittens. And it was 2 litters, one because you can't mix litters, one lot down in my foster room and one up in my spare room, and they were feral. So with feral
Oh,
kittens, you have to spend time
yeah,
socializing them.
yeah.
Plus, they need feeding every 3 hours. So it was literally from do one, do the next one, then go back and do the first lot, and then do the second.
Oh
So it
wow.
was just all encompassing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, look at that. 50 feral cats.
Oh,
Oh, bless you. Oh wow.
wow.
That's that's fantastic of her, it really is. I ended up with 2 feral cats, so I went to a rescue, and the local Nottingham University apparently is the caretaker there. He got sacked, so just let the cats just go breeding.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah.
there was one cage full of kittens with cat flu, and the two like climbed to a top as well, but I wasn't in a position where I could take them on because the attention they would have needed with the cat flu. And then
Yeah.
there's 2 more who were quite miserable, and it's those I sort of ended up with. And she was so loving, but she was ill for years.
Mm.
Um, she But, she got there. She lasted longer than he did. But, yeah,
Yeah.
but they had a life, and that's great. A
Yeah.
rescue dog, 6 months old. Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh,
Really is, yeah. It makes such a difference to them, but also to the life that they go and join, the family they join. And
yes. Yeah.
so
Definitely.
good for your health as well, aren't they?
Yes.
So,
Well, it's total de-stressors, and like you
totally.
said, they're the first thing that see you when you come home, and
Yeah,
there's no agenda. It's not like however bad a day you've had, they rush over. Even my cats, they'll meet me at the front door, and it's oh,
yeah.
it's mummy. They're always excited to see
Yay.
you, and
What
yeah,
food?
it's yeah, feed
Yeah,
me.
yeah. But
But yeah,
no,
it's
yeah, it's just great to have that company, isn't it?
yes,
Really
yeah,
is. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Wow. That
yeah.
that
It
I
is hard
can't
work.
imagine. No way, 50. Oh
Yeah,
dear. Got to neuter them all and everything as well, catching them, and
yeah.
the
It's not
feral
cheap
ones will
either.
have no, the feral ones will have sharper claws as well. Hiss and
Tell me
teeth.
about it. I've
Yeah,
been bitten a fair few times in my rescue trapping career. Yes.
I bet. Yeah, something like a cat when it's got an issue.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So if anyone's got any questions for Liz, just got a few more minutes. But I want to thank you for the chat anyway. And yeah, the tour sounds fantastic. So you've still got some tickets left then.
There's still a few, but
That's
bookings
it.
are closing in a week. So
Right, okay.
because obviously I've got to get final numbers into hotels and things. So
Mhm.
there are still a couple of tickets left.
Yeah.
Um, But if you want to come on the investigation, if you can't do the whole tour and you just want to do an investigation, or you want to do a weekend, get in touch, and I'm sure I can work something out for you. Because, like I say, Patty's amazing to investigate with. She's just so lovely.
Energy, hasn't she?
Yeah, and we work in a similar way, both witchcraft wise and psychic wise.
Yeah.
And she's just so lovely. She's just ditzy, but a beautiful person all round. So to get to investigate with her is just an amazing opportunity. And I really can't wait to spend a week going around and spending time with her and everybody else, all the guests that are coming. It's going to be amazing.
But you do the tour, but in the evening you're chilling. No doubt you'll have mead as well sometime.
Possibly, yes. That's a good chance.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing of memories, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And like I say, it's my first tour that I designed, so it's like I've poured my heart and soul into it, and hopefully found some really interesting places. Got some really good, pulled off some good connections to get into play, like you said, with like Sunny House and
people don't know about that location, but it has got so much history to it. Oh yeah, I actually got a certain image when I was in there. I'll tell you afterwards what I picked up on, and I don't know why. So
interesting.
So maybe I couldn't describe it at the time, but I know fine. I can sort of relate it to something now, but
cool.
So I want to thank you anyway. It's been fascinating.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for your comments and everything. But I wish you so much luck.
Thank you.
Well, you won't need it, will you? Because it's just going to be brilliant. Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, but you're going to organise it. You're going to be organised. So you've got everything sorted, everything's in place, and that's it. I bet you've got contingency as well. So you'll be,
Well, that's why I've kind of done it, because it's like I've done tour directing for people before, and it's like, oh my God, it's going to be all sorted. And like you say, with the contingency, it's being done my way. I know if the wheel falls off, I've got several spares. So
yeah, that's it. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, thanks, Noreen, and thanks for watching, everyone. Take care, and you know where to book. Okay. So
drop me a message. Yeah.
What is it then? What's your website?
PhantasmTours.com.
There you go then. Get booking. Thanks everyone. Bye.